Hi, my name is Greg Canty, and I'd like to welcome you to the Win Happy podcast. I love chatting to people from all walks of life about their lives and their careers, about the choices they make along the way to pursue their happiness, and what winning actually means to them. I hope you enjoy these conversations as much as I do. Thanks for listening. On today's podcast, I chat with well-known and much-loved Pam Kelly, who's been a head chef in Cork for over 20 years. Her early years were spent in a one-bed flat in the LIberties in Dublin, and then the family moved to the total opposite, a large house in the country in Ballinasloe. The hospitality industry was in the family blood, so her career choice was no surprise, even though at a very early stage, Pam did have a notion that she might like to become a nun, until she discovered other interests, including a love for heavy metal. We chatted about her early life, alcoholism in the family, the crazy but wonderful world of food, her favourite place to eat, and her next career steps. She has worked as head chef in Cork in popular restaurants including Harvey's Bistro, Nash 19, Perry Street, Market Lane and the Farmgate, and each of them a little bit different, comes with their own stories. Let's hear from Pam. Pam Kelly.
How are you?
Yeah, a huge welcome to the Win Happy podcast.
Thanks for having me.
It seems a bit strange having to do this formal, Pam Kelly.
I know.
Us having chatted there for the last while, and I know you anyway, so it's a little bit weird, isn't it?
Well, a small bit, but look, I mean, we're not, if anyone else is listening, at least they know who's talking, you know?
So you came to my attention on LinkedIn, a place where people do a lot of business, but you play games on, apparently.
Apparently I do. Yeah. I do like those little games in the morning.
Yeah. And there was a lovely, lovely note where you were waving goodbye to some of your former colleagues.
Yeah.
In the Farmgate.
I was. I'm still waving. Miss them terribly. It's a fabulous place to work. Yeah.
And you missed them terribly. So you were the head chef there.
I was, yeah.
And I imagine, unlike other jobs, that kind of environment where you're all piled into a small space, under pressure, knocking it out of the park day after day after day, you probably have to get on well, or it's a very miserable life.
Oh God, I mean the morale is more important than the skill set, and that's a lesson that took me a very long time to learn. But once I learned it. That's how I treat every position and place that I'm in. It's about the feeling of when you're there, and it transpires into food, work environment, you know, people. You know, it's all about people at the end of the day. We're feeding people, people are working, looking after people. It's a people business, so it has to feel good, I believe.
So what I'd like to do is to get to that very point where you're waving goodbye to everyone. Mm-hmm. But approach it from the other end.
Okay.
Who the hell are you and where did you come from?
Where did I come from? So, I was born in the LIberties in Dublin, in Oliver Bond Flats, just near Guinness Storehouse, across from the forecourts.
I worked in Guinness for 3 years. Yeah.
My mum worked in Guinness.
Did you?
Yeah, she did. She worked in Guinness, like back in the 80s. This is back in the 80s.
When did she finish?
Oh, she was there sporadically. Like, my parents, my dad worked in restaurants. My mum, my dad's a chef, so she had many jobs, as it was kind of normal in the time. Whereas my dad would have worked really long hours in the restaurant. My mum would have worked there. She would have worked in Guinnesses. She would have worked in bars. She would have hopped around just to keep things going. We lived in a one-bedroom apartment. We definitely didn't call it an apartment. We lived in a one-bedroom flat in Oliver Bond. In the 80s, me, my mum, my dad, my brother and my sister, and my mum was expecting one of my other brothers.
In a one-bed
In a one-bedroom, yeah.
God almighty.
Yeah, it was really small. You know, my memories of there are kind of small, clear memories of it being really nice people, like great neighbours. Lots going on, but on the flip side of it as well, heroin was huge in Dublin at the time. It was everywhere. You looked, every neighbour, every person cycling through the kind of block of flats. It was really obvious, even to me as a 6-7-year-old child, that was dangerous. It was dangerous outside, but it was like living in two parallel worlds, kind of sitting side by side, where it was really dangerous yet really great neighbourhood, good people, and drugs just took a hold of people throughout that time, I suppose.
Yeah. It's funny, my son, his movie was released last year, and it's all filmed in the north side of Cork City, Christie, and it's probably all of that story wrapped up together.
Yeah.
Lots of depravity and everything else, but lots of goodness and humour and neighbourly stuff, but in hardcore circumstances in many cases.
Yeah.
When I was in Guinness, I remember actually just across from Guinness itself, there was an ATM.
Right.
And I think a few people were attacked at the ATM with syringes.
Oh, God.
That was the threat. So that would have been in the early 90s when I would have been there.
Right.
That was kind of hardcore.
It's a difficult place to live and survive, but I mean, in every neighbourhood, as you know, and when you talk about the movie Christie and all of that, like, when you know no different, you survive how you survive. You survive by looking at those around you surviving, and you find you do the best you can do, and you have to kind of make your own path, plough your own way. Now, we did move out of there in 1990, and we moved to Ballinasloe in County Galway into a 4-bedroom detached house, which was like...
What the hell?
Yeah, like it was far too big. It was had a front and back garden. We went from having no garden, and my grandmother lived up the road. My grandfather had just died, and that's kind of why we moved up there. And it was just a completely different pace, everything. I mean, I don't think, almost till this day, is that front door even locked, as in it was a very different time in our lives. It opened up the world so differently to me from when everything had to be kind of a little bit more closed in and be in and don't go far and this is your perimeter. Suddenly it felt like we'd the whole world to explore. Fields.
How old were you when you made that move?
7. I was 7 years of age. Suddenly, like, as I said, fields and roads and, places to go just within our surrounding area, and it just changed everything so much, perspective on life. Even the school, everything was just so different.
Do you remember that first period, the LIberties period?
I do, yeah. I remember like people's names. I remember where people lived. My dad and I went back there January last year. We went up there for some lunch and we went to Oliver Bond and we walked, and as soon as I walked around the corner I could actually see how it used to be, and we're pointing out the different changes. I mean, it looks a bit different now, like where the clotheslines were. We used to have swings kind of from the clotheslines, and that was kind of our playground. All the washing was hung outside, and the courtyard between all of that. We used to have a shop on the corner in someone's flat apartment called Sally's. You'd knock on the door and you'd stand at the door and you'd tell her what you wanted, whether you want 10 penny sweets or whatever you wanted. And at that time, actually, it was just when they got rid of the halfpenny. So, like, I remember going to the shop and having, like, 6 halfpennies and whatever, 2 tuppence and 2 pennies, and she wouldn't take them from me. And I was so upset because that was all the money I had, and went back to my dad and said she's not taking them. And it was literally the time of, the change of coin and the pound note, because I made my first communion in Dublin and it was all pound notes. And then just within a few months before we moved down, it was pound coins. And we were just looking at this giant coin with, I think it was a deer on it. Was it a deer on it?
I remember a deer being on one of the coins.
Yeah, pound coin, and going, oh my God, like, this is crazy, huge money. And just those kind of small transitional things. I suppose when you look back with kind of rose-tinted glasses, I remember it was just the hottest of summers and the coldest of winters and the darkest of Halloweens. And if you just remember pockets of time, I do remember lots of things, lots of incidents, and, how life was back then. I feel like it's a big part of who I am and part of my perspective I have in life now.
Except You didn't grab the accent?
I had the accent, until it was almost, people couldn't understand me when I got to Ballinasloe. I couldn't even say Ballinasloe when I came to Ballinasloe. I just said I was in Galway. I couldn't even say Ballinasloe. It was too hard. And then even when we went to bed in those 4 bedrooms, and my mum and dad were in the sitting room or the kitchen or wherever, or in bed, and when we'd start calling out for drinks, it was like, ma, 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 like we were like a flock of sheep down in the bedroom. And that's how it was for the first while we were there, until we started calling her ma'am and, dad instead of da, because people would make fun of you for calling them that. You kind of adjust very quickly when you're a kid, because you don't want to be the person that's different. You're already different because you come from a different part. You haven't been around all these people, and you have to start changing how you speak. You change fairly fast, to fit in,
Were you heartbroken leaving your friends and all that kind of thing? I
was absolutely devastated. It was really, really hard. And I had such a small class. I was in St. Audience in Dublin. There was 17 in my class. And then I came to Ballinasloe and there was 33 in my class. And it just felt so overwhelming. And my brother, Dan, I remember the moving truck came to the flats and we got everything into the truck, and my dad went in the truck and we went on the train, and we got to the house anyway, and the truck was there, it was being unloaded, and my brother just went into the truck and he was like, yes. He was after taking somebody's skateboard. He was after loading it into the bloody truck, and sure, there was no way to bring it back, but he was delighted. The first couple of weeks now in Ballinasloe, he was up and down on this person's skateboard. God, if they ever knew, I don't know whose it was, but he was happy he got that out of there.
Yeah, we'll have to find the owner of that skateboard.
We will, 36 years later. Yeah, we will indeed.
Absolutely heartbroken when that happened. Mm-hmm. So your mum and dad were working in the same industry that you're in?
Yeah, my dad's a chef. He's always been a chef. My mum she's done every part of front of house, I suppose, from bars to accommodation to, every part of it, front of house, looking after people. She really looked after people. She's one of those people who would, get to know somebody and just give them absolute hospitality. When we talk about hospitality now, that kind of level of getting to know somebody, really looking after them, guiding them through the town if they were there for the first time, or giving them all the tips. And, she loved people, and she was really great front of house. And yeah, my dad we've had restaurants growing up in Ballinasloe. He's been in and out of places. I worked with him for a time.
How was that?
That was, tough, I suppose, because it was great, but he never pushed me. I'm working with him when I was 15, 16. So when I went on to work somewhere else without my dad, I thought I was brilliant at my job because we were just smashing it every night. But I was really not. I was slow. He covered every part every ball I dropped, he caught it. And everything that I didn't do or didn't, whatever, he covered it. Instead of, maybe teaching me how to think for myself or to do for myself. I worked with him again, subsequently, years and years later, and it was very, very different. Even yesterday, my dad is just getting back up on the horse. He's looking at setting up something nice. His partner has a farm, and they're going to, they're looking at a farm shop. He's dealing with beef. He's doing lots of recipes, and it's so great to see him get excited about food again. So he took about 10 years off to look after his mum, and she died a couple of years ago. So he's ready to do something else. He loves cooking. He's an amazing cook,
What's his name?
Shay.
Ah.
Yeah, Shay Kelly.
So you say cook at home?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, I mean, cook at home. Both of them, really. It depends on who was there. We always had great food at home. I was a really picky eater when I was younger. I ate nothing. I'd eat a salad, I'd eat lamb, I'd eat chicken. I didn't even eat mashed potatoes till I was 19 years old. It's so
that was
bizarre.
A big day.
It was so bizarre to me. I just found textures strange and different things strange, and onions and things. And they accommodated, for 4 kids, they could cook 4 different things in the evening, and we were spoiled that way. We were never pressured into eating anything, which unfortunately I carried through with my kids as well. But when you go somewhere else, to your auntie's house, that's not how it is. You know, I remember being at my aunt's, my uncle's up in Dublin, and they gave me chili con carne for the first time when I was about 11. And they made me sit there for like 2 hours until I got through it. I cried and cried. All I could taste was tears. And I went to bed, and then I got up the next morning and it was there again. And they said, you have to have this. And, you know, it was to teach me, like, you know, it was great, like, you know, what they were trying to instill. But I mean, I was only there for a few days, so it was more like torture now than a life lesson. But yeah.
I'm picturing a Mr. Bean movie when he's at the restaurant and he has to...
the oysters.
Yeah, the oysters are... firing the steak tartare into the woman's handbag alongside him.
Oh, that was such a good episode. That was kind of show, you know, and shows like that, I mean, something you'd miss, isn't it? Like when we were younger and you'd all sit around watching things like Mr. Bean or, you know, whatever your man was with the blobby thing, Mr. Blobby, whatever his name was, you know, all those kind of shows that were on in the evening that the whole family would sit down and watch. I mean, there's very few and far between now at the minute. It was so lovely back then.
So living in that household with your mum and dad in that hospitality industry.
Yeah.
So I presume they were working weekends and late at night and all that kind of thing. So that was part and parcel of your life. Was it watching them coming and going at all hours and days?
Coming and going at all hours. We spent a lot of time in the restaurants. We spent a lot of time on the floor, and we spent a lot of time peeling onions, making cheesecake, you know, peeling potatoes, in and out. There was always a shop across the way or a space in the restaurant when it was quiet, and we were kind of there. We were there until I was old enough to kind of babysit, really. You know, someone might pop in, be child minding, or granny would come down and watch us for a while, but we were around the restaurants a lot. Like, we were there all the time, especially if it's like communions and confirmation seasons. Like, we were just there with all the other kids, kind of just blending in the dining room. And yeah, it was just normal, you know, it was just normal to be around everything like that.
Did you like going to the restaurants?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Loved it. Like, I mean, it was great crack. It was better crack than being at home. At least there was something to do. There was always people there, you know, on a Saturday or Sunday, loads of kids in the restaurants and stuff. You could run around, hang around with them and make new friends. And yeah, it was great. I mean, I loved it. And once you're old enough to wield a knife or a peeler, you're roped in. You're roped in, yeah. This is it.
What was your favourite family time?
My favourite family time. It's tough because we had, you know, it was a tough life. My mum died 21 years ago when I was 21, and she drank a lot, which led to her death in the end. So it was kind of, there was times there where we're strained. But I mean, there's so many great memories when I look back, like around my dad's birthday's at Christmas, and my dad, he talks about Christmas from June, and he just loves Christmas. So I mean, it was always really important.
You should introduce him to my Deirdre, who loves Christmas. It's
just something that, it doesn't matter what day of the year it is, he could tell you how many days it is to Christmas.
It's not that bad.
So we always had a big deal around Christmas and celebrating and family time, and it didn't matter what you wanted, you know, no matter what circumstances they were in, it was always kind of there and delivered. Probably took it for granted as we were kids, you know, whatever bike or pants or necklace or whatever kind of thing that you threw your eye on the Argos catalogue, you'd wake up Christmas morning, it was there, you know, and it was just, you know, they were lovely times. But I mean, simple times. We went on holidays to a caravan in Galway. The only holiday really that we ever went on as a family, which was just down the road. And we just went to the beach, and we went to, you know, to restaurants, and we just walked around, and like this, I mean, it was absolutely the best of times, the simplest of times, you know, and those things really stick in my head. And I suppose they kind of give you the blueprint of what you do with your own kids, like just keep it simple and spend time together and make these occasions kind of special. And you know, that's what I'd always do, you know, make it better than what you had, you know. That's kind of
what was your mum's name?
Maria.
And for Maria, I'm guessing with that weakness or whatever language we put against it. Actually, what language do you put against it? Was it a weakness? Would you say she had a disease? What would you say?
Well, I'd say it was an illness, yeah, I would put it as an illness now, you know. It took a long time for me to get to that stage. But yeah, it was an illness.
A tough environment to be in if you have that illness.
Oh God, yeah. It is, and I mean, especially when it comes down to hospitality as well, you're surrounded by it. It's very easy to, with stresses and celebration, like us as Irish typically, and going back, if you're celebrating, you're drinking, if you're crying, you're drinking, if you're this, no matter what the occasion is, if you have a shock, if you nearly get run over, you're given a drink, and it was almost always in any situation acceptable to be drinking, didn't matter what, even look at us in the airports on our holidays, it's just one of those things that's, you don't judge people. Okay, you judge people who are drunk, but for actually drinking, it's, a lot of people don't get judged. So it's very easy to find different cliques of people to drink with. You can go over to the people who are happy out celebrating and drink, and then you can move on to the sad ones, and, you keep going and you can keep doing all of that. It's easily facilitated.
Do you drink?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you?
I do, yeah. All of those things. Now that we're talking about it, I'm thinking, glass of red wine tonight.
I know. It's
actually one of my, talking about food, I've got this food association now.
Yeah.
Where red meat, I cannot enjoy a red meat meal without a glass of red wine.
Yeah.
If it's fish or chicken, maybe, yeah.
Would you have
glass of white wine?
Yeah.
So there's few enough meals, in all honesty, where I'm thinking, yeah, I don't need a drink with this. I enjoy it, I must say. It's one of life's wonderful pleasure, if you can enjoy it, I think.
If in moderation you can.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I'd be the same. I find I love a glass of red wine with dinner. I love when I get everything cooked on a Sunday especially, and you can sit down and, have a glass of red wine with your roast dinner. It's just it's just lovely. It's just really nice. Now, I don't do it as much as I probably did.
But, just to say as much as I should.
I know as much as I did, but it definitely would be one of those things when it's coming up to being ready, you're like, oh God, yeah, just to have that glass of red wine. And it's just so lovely. It just goes so well together. And it is those things, it's trigger points. Some people have a few too many of those trigger points, and that's kind of what happens. Or else they're not firing on any cylinders. It's just to get through the day, people do it as well, so.
And I imagine if you're in the kitchen and there's a few of you crammed together and it's boom, you're just slammed for the night.
Yeah.
And you finally get through this shift. I presume it's a little reward to the team.
It's a reward.
Let's all have it before we go home. Let's all have a beer. Beer together.
It's really hot, cool down. More so for me in nighttime business, I suppose. Not that it didn't happen in daytime restaurants, but it's just, you get to the end of that and it's like, oh my God, that 9 hours and let's have a pint. And sometimes it's, let's all go together and take apart that service and why it went so badly or why it went so well. And it's excuses really, and it's just how you get, you get into these routines and it's really hard to get out of them when you're inside them, because even if there's 5 people in the kitchen with you or 6 or 7 or as in Market Lane there was 24 chefs, you'd always find one if you wanted to, no matter what you wanted to do. If you wanted to go and jump off the bridge, it wouldn't be too hard to find someone who's on the same kind of stressful day or the same great day that'll say, come on, sure, I'll go with you. It's very easy to find a partner in crime,
Remember in the corridors of Guinness, there was one particular character, and if you were working a little bit late or whatever, you would meet him in the corridor, and he used to do this thing with his lips. He'd be just kind of licking his lips as if, getting ready for. He could taste the drink, I'd say. Jeez. And just looking for someone to go for a drink with. Yeah, and of course, this is going back a little bit, but. You couldn't be going for lunch and ordering Ballygowan if you worked for Guinness.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you spending money on
water?
Yeah, someone else's product. Exactly. You need to be loyal to the company.
Yeah, there was I've seen and I've heard and I've read a lot about that. Yeah. I think our drinking culture has changed now, but definitely back then there was no holds barred really.
Yeah, and that impacted on family life, I presume, did it?
Yeah, of course it did. I moved out of home when I was 16. I was working in restaurants at the time, and I went to college when I was 17, and I lived out of home since I was 16. So I mean, yeah, definitely impacted, when my brothers and sister were at home. It was difficult. I suppose I kind of separated myself from the family a little bit, and went to college and tried to get away from it all, I suppose. Yeah, it was a little bit difficult at the time.
So in terms of plotting a career, was it very, very simple, that choice? Was there ever going to be any other direction, was there?
Well, I would have loved to go in a different direction. I thought about different things like physiotherapy, and, there was a time when I wanted to join the nuns. So, definitely loads of things went through my head.
Did you?
Yeah, oh God, yeah. When I made my confirmation.
It's never too late.
No, it's too late now.
I know people, Pam. I can introduce you.
I've put the Catholic Church behind me.
Yeah, have you? Okay.
I have. I absolutely loved Mass, and I loved the ritual of it all, and I was an altar server for 2 years. It was just when girls could be altar servers. I would cover any Sunday if any altar server got sick. I was there anyway. I loved it. It was like being on stage. I loved putting on the robe. I did the midweek Mass.
The pomp and ceremony of it?
Yeah, I loved it. I knew every word of every prayer, of every hymn.
What's your favourite?
My favourite hymn?
Oh,
my favourite
yeah.
prayer? I don't know. I suppose now it's very different because I have a very different view on the church. But I had plenty. Sure, they changed all the words to them anyway recently. I mean, I've been to communions, confirmations. I don't know the words anymore. They've made them all quite politically correct, and with your spirit and all that is ending everything, and instead of God be with you. But I mean, the church was a real safe place for me. I was there all the time. I mean, for 2 years straight, I went the 40 days of Lent. It was my kind of thing to God. And every funeral that was in town, I had my hand up to be serving it. Every wedding was like, yeah, I'll do it. I just really enjoyed it. And I used to clean the church with my grandmother once a month. I used to do all the graveyard stuff. I used to do everything. Cleaned the presbytery with my aunt. It was just kind of something that I found myself really comfortable in.
You are a very strange creature.
I am, but I was quite young. I was 11 and 12 years of age.
Okay.
But the sacristan that was there at the time, Miss Walsh, she would give us unconsecrated holy bread, and I would go home to my brothers and sister and play Mass with them and do the whole ceremony, and they'd have to sit in the chair and listen to me do the whole Mass, and at the end they get the bread. They come up for their Holy Communion, and I'm sure Ben and Jill hadn't even made their communion yet. I was giving them this bread that wasn't blessed, as they say, and then sure I'd eat ice cream with it, everything. It was very unique part of my life. Very unique part of my life.
Not to be repeated.
No, not to be repeated. And I from when I was about 14, 15, it just went out the window, and I got into heavy metal music, went completely goth, and, dropped the church.
Who were your favourite band?
Who were or are? Oh, God.
Well, maybe were and are.
Well, I love bands like Iron Maiden, Metallica, Sepultura, that kind of thrash era. Still listen to a lot of that. Brought my daughter to Iron Maiden last year. So funny because
I loved their first two albums,
yeah.
In particular the Brian Diano period. For
Amazing.
me, I never liked Bruce Dickinson at all.
But you like the Diano?
Those first two albums,
Yeah.
Running Free and all that kind of thing.
Amazing.
Wow. Yeah.
Powerful stuff. I mean, I obviously Bruce he's still with them, and what they did. I saw them 20 years ago. It was 21 years ago or 22 years ago, and then with my daughter on the exact same day, 22 years apart. From when I first saw them to when I saw them with my daughter. Saw them in Paris, in Bercy. And they were just phenomenal. They're showmen. And I love all that kind of music, rock music and all of that. So the church kind of got left behind, let's say. Yeah, I moved on.
So what do you like now? Do you still like that stuff?
Yeah, I still like rock, metal. I mean, I wish I was a bit more diverse in my music tastes. Once I listen to certain things, I really get into them, but I always default back to things from my teenage years and early 20s, always. It's kind of a bit boring, really, but, there's some great new music out there. I just wish I had, an outlet or even a place to find it where I could explore it a bit more and listen and learn. I need to make time for that, actually.
With the little place in West Cork, kind of made that a vinyl house. So I rescued all of my old vinyls. So
Wow.
the Scorpions and Rainbow and Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin and Iron
I love all of
Maiden.
those.
Yeah, all of that stuff. Now, funnily enough, I'm now listening to Nina Simone and
Oh, yeah.
Bob Dylan, things I never in a million years would have listened to before. And yeah, new stuff as well, like The National and things like that.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. All of those I approve. They're all good, yeah.
Pink Floyd, 50 years since Wish You Were Here.
I know.
Can you imagine when they released that album, thinking that 50 years later people would still be buying it, and it's like, yeah, wow.
Oh, it is. And it's iconic as well,
Yeah,
you know. It's absolutely
incredible.
amazing, yeah. It's really,
So
really good.
it was going to be chefing, was it?
Yeah, I think it always was, you know. I loved it. I loved being in the kitchen. I loved the buzz. I love the pressure. Love the learning and all of that. Of course, it's not easy every day, but it's exciting. Always be there before you're supposed to start, and I'd always be hanging around after I was supposed to be going home. I found it's like a big group of misfits all together, and even though everyone's really different, you kind of find a commonality. And I think that's always going to be the same in kitchens. I mean, there's a bit more of a professional kind of vibe, and people aren't so, it's not always the black sheep and the outcasts anymore. It's more, people do go into it as a profession, and they're not trauma bonding. But I mean, there's definitely a time when it was kind of almost people's only option, whether they were bad at school or they were, you know, had hard to focus and keep attention. When you're being led by a ticket machine or by a chef in control, like that kind of metronome of time, like it keeps people on their toes and it keeps people busy, and there's customers waiting. There's no room for slowing down or chilling out or resting, and some people need that in their lives. It's like if you're in an English class and you're just told write an essay, like that's really difficult for people because they're not, you know, putting you under pressure time-wise or checking in on you or seeing how your progress is going. You're just left there to do it. I mean, I was quite good at school. Like, I loved maths. I did all higher level subjects. I could have done something else. But the lifestyle of the kitchen and the hospitality environment was just incredible to me. I loved it. Still do.
The environment has changed, because I do think back in the day when we didn't have that appreciation of food, and then you roll on the clock to now.
Oh God, yeah.
When we all know about the superstar chefs, and my God, every night you turn on the TV, it's chef here and chef there, and we get to experience that environment, even though none of us work in it except some people, but we have a different appreciation of it. And now the chefs are the superstars, and my God, you go to your fancy restaurant and it's like, oh, the chef is going to come out and greet people. We were down in Dee Dee's in Baltimore there quite recently.
He's the most gorgeous man, Amit.
Yeah. They're top of their game. It's so good. And of course, I'm going to say around the corner, it's not really, but in Ballinasloe.
Yeah, with Rob.
Yeah, you go to the Chestnut, and these places are on our doorstep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just something else. So now I think it's a profession that's revered. I'm not sure if you're stuck in the middle of it, you feel that way, but...
No, I think it is revered. I mean, I went to London last week and I went to 4 restaurants like that were on my list of things to do. And it's to go to where the chefs are cooking, like to go to Rochelle Canteen where Margot Henderson is cooking, and to like she was there, and like to eat the food like that you know about. And, you know, I went to the French House in Soho, and I went to St. John, and you're kind of going... You're going there because of the chefs and what they do and the food and everything. And these places have no music. They've no art on the wall. It's all about the food. And it's just incredible. And yeah, I mean, chefs, most chefs, 95% of them don't want to be in any spotlight, you know. And that's important because that means they're in their kitchens cooking, where we should be. Like, everyone who has that passion for food should be cooking in their kitchens. Yes, it's lovely to have a spotlight on a TV show or something like that, but I mean, I don't think that it's where most chefs start off, that they want to be on TV. And if they do, they're not going to end up being that great chef.
Yeah, you're doing a different thing all of a sudden.
Yeah. But It is a revered career. Hopefully it'll last, but I mean, it's hard to get people into the industry. And it's people like Amit down Dede, but I mean, he's taking in people and training them. And, you know, he's letting them off and they're travelling the world. It's a very different cycle of people. Whereas when we take people into places like Farmgate and Market Lane and Nash, they're going out into the locality. And, you know, they're moving through the different restaurants. And it's important to build that kind of pool of chefs that are well trained and, you know, moving around and spreading goodness instead of badness, and, you know, to build that kind of population of chefs up again, you know.
It's an international passport as well, having that as a skill, isn't it?
I believe so.
You can go anywhere and do anything.
You can, because even today I was speaking with somebody, like language in the kitchen, regardless of where you're from, you know, it's physical, it's showing somebody with your hands, with your eyes, with your looking, with your pointing, you don't have to be fluent in the language of the kitchen that you're in. Of course, it helps with some tasks and communicative skills, but there's more than one way to communicate. In a kitchen, I think it's much easier. Front of house, very different, but when you're in the kitchen, it's definitely much, much more different. You know, you learn the kitchen language and you can talk about it.
So, according to LinkedIn, you've been 21 years as a head chef.
As a head chef, yeah.
Can you talk me through all of those and how you ended up in Cork?
So when I was in second year in college, I came down here to do my placement and I worked in a restaurant called Jack's, which is still
very good.
Yeah.
Oh, you know Etna, yeah.
Jack and Etna are our superstars. They're absolutely amazing people. And Ruth.
Actually, today I was in Didi's. Etna was in there.
Oh, there you go. You can't go far without running into anybody, can you?
It's so true.
So I went there and I was, what age was I? Was I 19? It was things I'd never seen before. They were so excited, Jack in the kitchen, popping in and out, and they'd just come back from holidays and they're talking about this thing in Italy. I'd never been to Italy. I'd only been on one holiday, which was to Amsterdam and Berlin with the girls, and I'd never been outside the country apart from that. So I was kind of excited to hear, like, what's coming back from Italy? Like, you know, what's this? And she was talking about this bizarre thing. Actually, it didn't work what they were saying, but she was saying that she had chicken with marzipan under the skin, and they had corn-fed chicken in there, which I'd never seen either, which was yellow chicken. And this marzipan, and she was serving it on an apricot mash, and I remember tasting it, and this is me now not eating mashed potato until just around a few weeks before this, and I was like, this is absolutely horrendous. But apart from that dish, everything else they had on the menu was just sensational, so well sourced. You know, the people would come in delivering the duck and all of that, and it was just so amazing to see it coming into the city. And I was only there for a short while because my mom got really sick, but I absolutely loved it, and that was my introduction to Cork. And they were just doing up Patrick Street and everything at the time, so putting in all those lampposts that are there now. It's back in 2003.
I still think they're new lights, but God Almighty, that shows you how fast that time whistled by.
23 years. And like at that time, the Oval was the old Oval, and that was the kind of first bar that me and my friends went to. And like we followed some punks down this alleyway. The Goat Broke Loose was there, and Henry's had just closed down, and like we just missed a really good era, I think, of Cork. But I went from there to the Woodford. So the Woodford, yeah.
Oh, but Francie.
He wasn't there at the time. Oh, Francie was there. Yeah, that's way back when. And he had the mountain bar up in Turner's Cross. And that was a different experience again. So that went from what Jack's was down to like sandwiches and stuff like this. Working in a kitchen with loads of Cork people who were hard to understand. It's really difficult. Even getting a taxi, I was like, I have no idea what you're saying. Like, it's just such a fast, the way they were speaking when we got down here. Went from the Woodford, and then I went to the Glucksman, and Pam Black, who's now in Ballinasloe, who was in Ballinasloe before that, she's one of the kind of teachers down there. Pam is an absolute character, an amazing woman, and I worked there with Newland, actually Ken, I don't know if you've ever heard of Assassination Custard in Dublin.
No.
Oh, well, you have to go. Look, it's an 8-seater restaurant in Dublin. A lot of offal, a lot of tripe. They've been in the top 100 restaurants for the last few years. Incredible place. Only open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for lunch. It's in Dublin 8, near the Liberties. So Ken was working there with me as well. And we just such crack. And then I was kind of like looking, the produce started to come back in again, like Frank Hederman delivering and all of that. So then I went, when I left there, because that kind of closed down in the sense that it was, and it was reopening as something else. And I went to Harvey's, which was down Academy Street. I don't know if you remember it.
I do.
She was looking for a head chef. Sure, I wasn't ready to be a head chef, but I told her I was, and I did, and I went in there.
There is a time when we have to kind of
I had to black.
jump above ourselves, don't we?
Yeah, like my son was born when I was in the Woodford, so I met my then husband when I was in Jack's, and we had our son Evan, who's now 21, and I was like, I had to make a decision. It's either go up the ladder, like, you know, I need to increase the salary, or, you know, there was actually no other option. So I had to go. So I went, and I blagged it, and we got through it, and I worked really hard. I worked really long hours, did what we were doing. Cafe Bar Deli was just next door. So that was thriving. It was like so busy. Harvey's was holding its own, but it was like breakfast, lunch and dinner. Felicity and Tom, who I still talk to. I worked with Felicity again another 15, 16 years later. I was there for 2 years, and then I wanted to kind of go daytime. So went over to Nash, met Claire for the first time. I remember passing by it loads of times going to work, thinking it looked really quiet and that it'd be kind of easy. And I didn't know that there was a whole back part to the restaurant. I didn't know there was an upstairs. I thought it was like a cafe. Yeah, so I got some land when I went in there anyway, and realised how busy it was and how good the food was and how high the standards were there.
It was incredible.
Like, phenomenal. Claire had her standards and nobody going to compromise them.
Yeah.
And that was it. And that
people in the city have a lot of respect for her, but you could also get the sense going in that she was a tough taskmaster.
she was, but she held everyone to her own standards. Like, as in, you know, if she wouldn't be asking you to do something that she wouldn't expect of herself, you know, and she'd say it 100 times a day, you're only as good as your last bowl of soup. If that person goes out of there now and that soup is terrible, or that beef is tough or whatever, they won't come back, and that's because of that. So it has to be the best you can do all the time. And she drilled it. She drilled it day in, day out, day in, day out. She used to cover my day off in the kitchen. She's a phenomenal cook. She'd be down there serving. She'd teach you how to talk to people and how people needed to be spoken to how to address people, the different people around town. About the Lord Mayor, I never even knew there was a new Lord Mayor every year, you know, or people who were in different parts of business, and, you know, oh, he only gets half an hour break now, or she only does this, and she's to walk another 40 minutes now to get back this way, and she only has this man, she's coming from the courthouse, and make sure you serve her fast, and like all of these things about their lives to make their lunch break as efficient as possible. So to some people it might look like there was a bit of kind of movement around there and superiority, but she knew that Bob had to be back at the courthouse at 2:00 and it's now 1:20, and he's going to have a full dinner and he needs to eat it and he needs to get back. And that kind of shuffling of the queue, that's hospitality, and that's knowing your customer, like, which I found, you know, she taught that to me, definitely.
Yeah, something that astounded me about her, I remember when we had just taken an office for the first time on the South Man, and you go in there for lunch or whatever. Day one you go in and you're obviously a new face, and that's fine. By day 2 or day 3, she knows your name.
Yeah.
And the next time you go in, not only does she know your name, but everyone who serves you knows your name. And they don't forget it, ever. Is that something that she did? Was that find out who they are, or would she tell you deliberately, that's Greg, that's Dee?
Yeah.
That was kind of drilled into people. You know, that cheers thing, you know, where everybody knows your name. It's a lovely feeling.
It is.
When you go into a place and you get that lovely meet and greet part, and you're made felt for that hour, whatever, that you're a special customer. And you know she's like that with everyone, but still. Knowing your name. Wow.
No, I think it's huge, and it's really important, and like down to the point where I suppose once you start to know like your group of people who are coming in, say, regularly, then I start to know that if they say, Greg's having the pork, and I was like, Greg doesn't like carrots, and they didn't tell me, and I was like, is that for Greg? Oh yeah, he's having no carrots, we'll get him extra this or extra that. And you start to know their preferences. They start to not tell you, you just remember. and there's a huge amount of things to remember when you're doing all that. And yeah, it was encouraged to, you know, remember as much as possible about people. And to this day I still do. I could name so many people walking up and down South Mall who would not have a clue who I am, but I know them, and I'm like, he doesn't like carrots, gravy on the side, extra horseradish, well done beef, and it's just something that sticks in your head, you know.
That's a bit more than knowing if you're in the pub that he drinks Murphy's.
But I might, exactly. But I might not know their name sometimes, or, you know, there's something, you know, it's a very strange connection that you'd have to people when you link them through food, you know. But yeah, that's. Like, that was a really big part of my life, and a big Rolodex was built there of suppliers and producers from there. I learned all of that. But like, going from that then, where did I go? From there, I went to open Perry Street with Brian and Paul, which was a huge challenge, a huge undertaking, very ambitious men, and had exactly what they wanted in their minds. But to execute it was very different. And
in a very odd location.
Yeah.
I understand Nash 19, why it would be really busy. You're next to the South Mall, in the middle of all the suits.
Yeah.
Perry Street it's a very odd occasion. I know Bakestone are in there now, and, you know, I continue to say that location is a challenge.
It is.
The Perry Street guys probably broke it as a location, so people are used to some eatery being located there, but my God, for them to do it, I thought that was really...
Yeah, it was. It was, you know, it's very funny when you think about Cork people and Cork just trying to get people across the bridge, or get people down a street, or get people around a corner. Like, you could throw a stone from anywhere on Patrick Street and hit almost every place you can eat. But we're very funny about crossing bridges and crossing roads, and, like, it's not far to go at all. But I mean, once something is in your mind and it's good enough, you'll go there. It's on your radar. You'll go.
And at the same time, while we all like trying out new places, we're ferocious creatures of habit.
That's true.
I think in any sort of business, getting someone to where to get your hair cut, going from one hairdresser to another, we don't really make those changes the whole pile. You know, where you do your supermarket shopping, we're like, ooh, you're probably locked in. The most frustrating thing when you're wandering up and down aisles and you don't know where anything is.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
The most frustrating. Like, I went from whatever the Duns, and when they move things around in there, my son loves the Duns in Merchants Quay, and he knows where all the bits and pieces are in there. My daughter likes to get her special cookies and stuff in Marks and Spencer's. I don't know either of those places. So when I go in there looking for things that they've set me in for, it feels like it's an absolute challenge. But yeah, you're right, definitely creatures of habit. And you like going where you know where things are, where you know how it's going to feel to sit there and all of that kind of stuff, you know, and that's, yeah, definitely.
And tell me, as the head chef setting the tone, deciding on the food, how much of that is you and how much of it is matching the vision of the owners?
Well, I mean, in every place I've worked, so let's say with Nash, with Claire, it's about, once you know her vision and her mind, you just go with that. You have to have really good roast meats, you have to have really good beef or really good chicken, really, like, make your sauces the same, all your stocks from bones and all of that. And Nash changed their menu every single day. Like, you'd plan it out as much as you can a week in advance, but I mean, it would change, and you'd be calling up the fishmonger, like, over to O'Connell's to get Dennis what's good, what fish is good. Someone could come into the queue in Nash and they were like, oh, I'd love a bit of organic salmon. So you just pick up the phone while they're in the queue and you try and get it over to Nash. That happened so frequently. Or with the oysters and all of that kind of stuff. But I mean, the vision is Claire's. The only thing what I did was there is to execute it to her standard, to make sure that the people were happy. All she wanted was people to be happy too. Like, so it's just... Like, if I was to say, oh, I'm going to put on some sushi for a starter tomorrow, and it wouldn't even get out of the kitchen, you know. No matter how great it was, it just doesn't go with the ethos of the place. But I mean, she would be much more lenient if you were to do something that she hasn't put on before or whatever, like to try it out, absolutely. But if it didn't pass her standards, like, forget about it. And you know, in Perry Street as well, the guys had a big vision for what they wanted. But I mean, the kitchen in the beginning wasn't set out for that kind of dream. So like, you know, if you want an abundant display of food, it's lovely. But if you're not going to have the customers, it's an absolute waste. And trying to get that footprint kind of right and to step in the right direction. Like, I was only there for 10 months and they probably got it right after I left. But I mean, all the chopping and changing and things like that was a difficult process.
And I presume with any place like that, there's always a bit of figuring out. That
of course.
You have your vision, and then there's customers who come through the door who have a different vision about what they want to put into their bellies.
Absolutely. And like, it has to align with so many things. It's not like it's the customer, it's yourself, it's the price, it's the time of the day that they're going to be eating. It's, you know, there's so many factors. And when you go into business at this, like with somebody, I wasn't a partner in the business, but at the same time to open a kitchen.
But you're a key
player.
As a head chef, oh my God.
Yeah. But say now you just start to, when you go in side by side with the same vision, and then it starts to fragment in different directions for them and for me. Like, you know, it's just kind of like, I don't know if this is where I want to go, and if they want to keep going that way, that's brilliant. Like, you know, I'm not the right person for this job. You know, I need to do something that aligns with me, because at the end of the day, for me, it's about the food and it's about the systems and it's about the whole experience. It's going in there in the morning and leaving in the evening and not being upset with how the day is gone. But like, I learned loads and loads about opening a business there.
So you were there from the very beginning, were you?
Before the beginning, yeah. And it was incredible. And like, they brought it to so many different levels, and fair play to them. But it was right for me to get out at the time. And like, I was approached by Market Lane because they were just opening Elbow Lane, and I met with them a good few times, coffees and this and that. I was the first head chef in there that had never worked there before. So it was a huge learning curve to go from canteen style food, or, you know, service at a counter, to a la carte for, you know, 500 people a day.
Yeah,
and a team of 24 people. Yeah,
that's always busy as far as I can make out. Yeah,
it's always busy, but I mean, it's so well oiled, so well managed. The troubleshooting there is on the hour. It's every day. Nothing gets swept under the carpet. It just, you deal with it. And you might put something into something to deal at the end of the week, but I mean, it's dealt with. You're not carrying around problems for any amount of time. It's really communicative, really open. You know, owners are so approachable. You could go to Conrad, Judy, Tracy about anything. Like, you could go to them with a bunion, and you could go to them about, you know, there's 200 steaks I'm after dropping on the floor. It didn't matter how big the problem was, there was always a solution. There was never huge judgment in, you know, if you have to make judgment calls about how busy it's going to be or your guesstimations. You know, I just found how they run their business, and the key to their success is the communication that they have between everybody, and the training that they will give you for anything that you want to be trained in or show interest in. That goes across the board, from kitchen porter to everybody.
It's such a difficult business, because if you meet anyone and how was your day and where'd you go for lunch? Well, I went to Market Lane. How was it?
Yeah.
It's the automatic question that comes up every time someone tells you
true.
They went to a restaurant. So you wax lyrical about how it was, and we actually like to give our opinion about it.
Yeah.
And maybe you haven't got the most refined of taste, or you like things in a particular way, but you will give your opinion, and the other person then will walk away with that opinion that you've just given them. And then, of course, sometimes you do the Google review thing, and if you've had a bad experience, like I was chatting with Dennis Milan in Liberty Grill. I love this. He was telling me, they said, at least once every 2 nights we have a table of death. And I, Jesus, what's the table of death, Dennis? And he said, basically, the minute they come in the door, you know it. They've got heads on them that life, for whatever reason, is shitty. And he literally said, no matter what happens from that minute to when they leave, it's going to be the table of death.
Yeah.
That they're not happy with things. They're not happy with the selection on the menu, the one thing that they'll want, you've just run out of.
Oh, yeah.
And it goes on and goes on and goes on. And for the team serving them,
yeah,
they pick up on that tension immediately. And they're jittery, so they're going to mess up. If you're not relaxed and enjoying yourself, you're going to mess something up, aren't you?
It's true.
And he said, table of death, and then they'll want a discount or whatever. But it's brutal because we will publish the review. And there must be a night, we get it ourselves in Fusion. You know, a particular day, a few people are out with flu or whatever. But if you're in the kitchen and a few key people haven't turned up for whatever reason, and you're trying to keep the show on the road, is it going to affect the quality of the food? Maybe.
Of course.
If there's a late delivery, or maybe the quality of whatever you got was a bit off that day, and you don't have anything else, and you just have to...
Yeah.
So the wrong person comes in at the wrong day, and
then they get bad food and
annihilated.
Whatever, yeah.
And oh my God, the food there is terrible.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
It is, and like people are very like quick to do those kind of things, reviews and posts and whatever. And look, it's human nature. Like, it depends who you meet when you come out. If you come out and get lashed upon and you suddenly feel absolutely miserable and terrible, and your mood shifts, or you miss your bus, or you miss your whatever it is, and then someone said, "How was your lunch?" Like, "Oh yeah, it was okay." Like, I mean, it was like I just had like a sandwich, or whatever. Like, that frustration comes across. Like, as human beings, anyway, we're very judgmental, and you'll always, people look for fault in things. It's a natural thing how good something is. If they're going to go in with any kind of expectation and it's not met.
But no one's going to say to you, "Oh, Fusion, how was the press release today?"
Won't they?
Yeah.
I was just about to ask you, Greg, how was the press release?
Oh my God, how was that digital marketing campaign?
It's true, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And on the day you're in a hurry?
Yeah.
Oh, for God's sake, they took forever.
Yeah, it's always the way.
On the day you were relaxed, Jeekers almighty, they were kind of rushing me along. I just wanted to chill out.
Exactly that. That's how it feels, and that's it. I mean, you have to take your own personal expectations, whether you're in a hurry or you're not, or whatever it is. There's so many things, and believe it or not, like the theatrics that go on around you people are trying to judge how you are. Are you in a hurry? Are you chilling out? What's the kind of how fast will we bring the main course, the starters? Like, are they looking to chill out? They've got a bottle of wine between the two of them. They probably want to chill for a bit. Let's hold back on the main courses. And the waiters have a lot to play with that. And even from the kitchen, I can see table 4, they're having their pâté. They're taking 20 minutes to eat the pâté. Like, don't put on that fillet steak. Like, and you have to watch the dining room, and you have to play it. It's like an orchestra.
And a lot of those waiters, invariably, they're kids working on their first jobs.
A lot of them are, and they can't, and it's the learning, and it's just by time they get to the stage where they kind of have that feeling of the flow, and you're judging people by how they are in a way to make them have a good experience. They move on to be the doctor that they were studying to do, or be whatever, but they can transcribe those skills to whatever they do in life. I do think that hospitality will always give you skills for life, really and truly.
It's funny, actually. Actually, probably in the early days of the podcast, I asked them, what job did you learn the most? Nearly everyone talks about that time when they're out in their J1 and they're working in restaurants, they were working for tips, and how will you get to finesse that? So for all of that time, you're still in the industry, and then you went from Market Lane to
Farmgate.
To Farmgate, another iconic Cork restaurant, another different dynamic.
Yeah, completely. I was a customer of Farmgate's for 15 years. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I mean, my favourite thing to do on a Tuesday, 12 o'clock, knowing that they're not going to probably be serving until about 12:15, get a table for one, get a glass of red, I'll get 2 starters, I'll chill out with a book and, have another glass of red wine.
You're teasing me now. I'm starving.
That's what I used to love to do. Look down over the market, people watch, look at the people having their lunch and, coming in and eavesdrop a small bit on what they're talking about, their challenges of their days, and so many business meetings and catch-ups and all that. And it's just such a lovely... I love that about being in a dining room alone. I love eating alone, just to see what's going on and how how the service is going. But working in it is very different. I realise now is probably holding the table a bit longer than I should have, because I'd be like, what's happening with 19? Like, we need to get them going. But an iconic restaurant on so many levels. Like, they support the arts so much, poetry, sculpture, like, the actual arts, a real part of the community. They give so much, and the regulars are regular people who come in, some of them twice a day, for their coffee and then for their lunch in the afternoon. They're always welcomed and it's comfortable. It's a market cafe. It's moving parts all the time. Like, this side, the balcony side, obviously moves much faster than the other side. And yeah, it's like two different restaurants in one. It's really unique, and the space is unique. And like, to get everything from down below, like, you're running around in the morning, you're trying to get the best fish, you're asking Owen O'Mahony when's he going to have organic pork, free range pork from Glenbrook. You're going to Glen saying, do you have ribeyes on the bone? I need like 10 of them, I've got lads in today. Go down to Collins, getting your lamb, whatever. You go between Ballycotton and Kay O'Connell's to get your fish, and we go between the poultry things. When are you going to have duck in? And it's this constant thing every day, and you run out of something and you run downstairs and you get it, and it's just that larder that's downstairs that you can just, like, the fridge space upstairs, there's a lot of it, but it wouldn't fit the amount of produce that we cook there. And it's just a phenomenal place to be, to work, and yeah, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, and you did that for
7 years.
I'm just thinking about that number, and like, primary school, yeah, it's pretty much 7 years and a bit. Secondary school is less than 7 years, probably 5. Like, it's a long time.
It is a long time. It's a really long time. And it pivoted and it changed, and we opened the stall in COVID, and we did loads of nighttime events and collaborations with really good chefs. Like, Ross Lewis came down and did a night from Chapter 1, and from Carmel from Good Things Cafe came down, and to work with these big chefs. And any TV people that kind of come down and film in the market, they always want to come up, and like, I filmed with like Mary Berry, Dermot O'Leary, like, these chefs from the Netherlands, and all of this kind of stuff. Like, loads of that going through the years, because people are so inquisitive. Like, we've an open market downstairs, tripe and liver and everything, and yeah, the opportunities have been phenomenal.
If you could relive a day in the kitchen again, which day would it be?
Oh God, that's really hard. There's been so many good days, there's been so many different things. I suppose a good day, without being specific, is a day when everybody seems to be in flying form, on form, in flow, food is good. And that day when that happens, automatically so many people that come in for lunch, and it's like it all comes together, like friends or other people in the industry, and they all seem to kind of gather around that kind of one day where you feel like everything's going well. We've had so many people in, food writers and chefs and all of that, and all they want is a bowl of lamb stew, but it has to be a good bowl of lamb stew. And I mean, once you have a day where from start to finish goes really well, nobody dies, nobody falls down the stairs, cuts themselves, food goes okay, nothing's burnt, like, that's a good day. Because they're few, not that they're few and far between, but they're, it doesn't happen, it's not 100% good all the time, like, so.
But when you think of that team together, some of the characters you've worked with, and can you pick one particular day, with one particular group, that if you could live that day again, you're like, yeah, I gather all them and let's go for it?
Okay, so like, I mean,
I'm being really mean now, really pushing.
You're being really mean. Like, I could put a team together of people who I've worked with. If I could put a team of people together that I've worked with over the years in one kitchen, and kind of, that would be a very interesting day and lovely day. But I mean, if I was to go back to one day that I really remember, might not be the best day, but it was definitely one that sticks out in my head. A friend of mine, Laura McGee, who's a chef, she worked with me in Farmgate and Market Lane. This Market Lane at the time, it was Christmas Eve. And I just remember it being so busy. We're so exhausted. It's been a month of full on. And Laura and I got in an hour early in the morning, about 6 in the morning, got everything ready. We're just doing lunch for 3 hours, supposedly. And it just went, there's choirs singing, there's families laughing, there's just joy in the dining room. Everyone's so happy, spilling over it. Laura and I were there, absolutely wrecked. The team was there, Mofi, Shane, there's a group of people there. And just it was palpable happiness from the dining room and the exhaustion. And we were crying in the kitchen because we were finished. We were happy we were finished. We were happy everyone was happy. We were given a glass of whiskey. We stood there and it was just, everyone was there but just the two of us. I remember being there and it was just like one of those, like, we did it. Like, we got through, which seemed like the longest service of our lives. Everybody's happy. Everyone's just so joyous. And I suppose things like that make me happy, when the people who come in to eat are happy.
That's a real win-happy moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's what we do it for, It's that. There's plenty over the years that have been great days, but a good day is when, everything goes well and people are happy and people leave happy and they don't leave work and being upset or sad or stressed or angry or overly exhausted. It's a good day. That's what I can say.
And then, of course, you have the food critics who come in, and if they catch you on a good day, it's wonderful, and if not, that can make a big difference to the business and everything, which is really cruel.
It can, but usually, nowadays, fruit critics, if they come in and they find something terrible, they don't seem to write about it. They like to do the highlights. They're much kinder now than what they were. Like, Joe McNamee and the likes.
I was in school with Joe.
Were you in school with Joe? He's a wonderful person.
Yeah, sound.
He is.
He really is. He loves food.
He does.
My God.
He's like a thesaurus as well.
Yeah.
I was like, where did you learn those words now? He's really got a big vocabulary, and it's always interesting reading his pieces. And he champions people around the city and county and country really well. Like, he does put people on pedestals that are really deserving of it. I think, Joe. We
were doing work for Hayfield Manor, and God rest him, Paolo Tullio.
Yeah.
We managed to get him down and to eat in the restaurant and everything. And they were so nervous about it. They were like, he didn't want to eat alone. Could we eat with him?
Yeah.
Yeah, so myself and Dee and Paolo and a sommelier, whose kid was just born. I think he's now out in Tracy's in Ballinasloe. Do they call it Tracy's now still? I'm not sure.
Right.
Yeah, but anyway. So we were sitting there anyway, and I just noticed Paolo the whole time was just gazing around the whole restaurant. And I was asking him, everyone knows who you were.
Yeah.
And it was obvious the staff were just fawning over him, nearly tripping over him. And I was saying, typical Greg, how can you even assess a place?
Yeah.
Because they're just doing somersaults to be, because I watch what they're doing with everyone else.
Yes, there you go.
And that's what he was saying, is how it was his approach to the job he was assigned to do on that particular day and judge a place. And he was a lovely man, absolute gorgeous, gorgeous man.
Yeah.
The non-5-star Michelin star places, there's places around the city where I think there's great food, but they're never going to get the headlines that some of the other ones are. Which of those ones do you like for special treats?
Well, there's so many that I like. The top hitters like the Glass Curtains and the Goldies and the Elbows always get mentioned, and they're really, really good. I suppose for me, I love Good Day Deli. I love Proby's. I love the Raven Bar. Like, the Raven Bar do great food in the evening. Oh my God!
I don't think I've eaten there.
Just fabulous. From small bites to big bites. Service is phenomenal. All drinks table service. It's just really cool food and really tasty. Good Day Deli, they've got loads of accolades. Love it there. We eat in Koto quite a bit because Jeff is phenomenal service and the food is always really fresh and really good. When you were talking about Liberty Grill, never fails, and Proby's is the same. They've really got it good and gusto. You can't fault it. It's amazing food, really, really well cooked. Where else? Bunsen. Can we mention Bunsen? Bunsen
I was going to tell you, son of a bun.
Son of a bun? Yeah.
The burgers in there, That's one of my favourite meals. And
Is
I bring
it, yeah?
people, and I always say to them, they have the burger of the day, the special thing, and you look at the concoction of stuff they have in it, like, just trust them.
Yeah.
I know it sounds really weird, but just order the damn thing, because it's so, now I've had a lot of good experiences in there. I just think, bringing it right down again,
Yeah.
chicken tenders and hillbillies.
Oh, come on, yeah.
What a food explosion.
With gravy.
What are they doing with their food?
I don't know,
It
there's
is
loads of
just
black
like-
pepper in there, I think, and loads of black pepper in their tenders. But like the batter, my kids absolutely love them as well.
The chicken is so succulent. It's
Yeah.
like, wow. How can something be this tasty?
It's true. But John Grace's does really well as well.
Yeah.
And I love John Grace's. He's always there. And it's a real family business. He has a suit on. He's cooking chips and chicken in the background. And I just think he's, what a business, like, you know. And it's a pity that the businesses around him have closed down, because hopefully that street will get a nice bit of a lift soon, because
hopefully.
it's fab. But yeah, I mean,
I
there's...
think Penny's bought a lot of the buildings
Yeah,
there
supposedly.
to do a big, and like, please do something with them.
Yeah, exactly. It needs to be built on. But I mean, even when you're thinking of places like, if you go to Paladar, you know, on Bridge Street, like, stunning, like the plates there, Nassie's cooking, just phenomenal. Like, I mean, Isaac's for me.
Mirko next door.
Mirko's great,
Yeah.
like, and he's a superstar, and that's, you feel like you're on holidays when you're in Mirko's.
Yeah,
Like, you feel
I love him.
yeah, you're like, I wish I could speak more Italian. But I mean, that side of the city is doing brilliant. But I mean, Isaac's for good old-fashioned cooking. I mean, I love going in there. You'll always get a nice piece of fresh fish with some good mash. Everything's piping hot. Service is brilliant. Really reasonable priced wines.
The ambience in there,
Yeah.
you know, the ceiling, so it's always a lovely buzz.
It's
you mentioned that happy feeling when you're in the farm gate.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take you back now to where we began,
Okay.
saying goodbye to the team.
Yes.
So what's the plan?
Well, I've had a couple of different plans. One was to take a break. I haven't had a break in 25 years, bar my maternity leave. I'm with my two kids, which both were short, because when I had my son, it was 6 weeks was the maternity leave at the time, and with Sarah and I went back early. I took some time, and like, I've been reflecting, and I have some lovely offers on the table, but nothing that feels to me like my next step. And honestly, I don't know where I'm going to go within the next week or so. I have to make a decision. I know where I want to be in 2 years' time, which is, I'd love to be at the helm of somewhere cooking food.
Okay, so let's tear up all those offers. Give me your ideal.
My ideal? Well, I would love to just have a space to do really good lunch and dinner. Breakfast is not important to me, but I mean, if that was what the space needed, but just something that's really good, simple food, well cooked, would definitely not be going down the fine dining route. Definitely more of a bistro style food, really lovely, rustic, gorgeous flavours, you know, where you feel like you've had your... I love the dinner at lunchtime thing as an option, where you can have your main meal at lunchtime and you can eat lighter in the evening. And just the dream of like cooking like really nice fish, bone marrow. I love offal, I love lamb's liver, I love ox heart, and I love beef tongue, and I love all of that kind of stuff, and I don't think there's enough of it on menus. And I'd really love to be someone that could bring that, you know, I brought it in some way in Farmgate, but I mean to really the forefront.
You'll love our client and friend, Pat Whelan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like, he's all head to tail.
It's fabulous.
You know, yeah, all of that.
And like what they're doing in James Whelan, it's James Whelan's is his butcher's, but I mean it's such a gorgeous butcher shop. Like even the one in Dunn's, it's almost like art how things are displayed in there.
Oh, we've been working with him now for a long time.
Yeah.
And he's one of these clients that you just end up learning from.
Yeah.
All of the time. He's amazing.
His book that he brought out many years ago, I mean maybe back in 2013 or 14, like I have that. But I mean, I just find that no matter which space you go into in any part of Ireland, that's James Whelan's. The quality is there and the expertise is there. Like, and that's what you want and what you expect when you go to a butcher of that level. You know, it's phenomenal. But like, that's the dream. simple, 5 starters, 5 main courses, couple of desserts, lots of offal focused, gorgeous local vegetables, and like, I'd be living the dream. I'd be so happy.
Do I get an invite to the opening night?
Absolutely, of course, yeah. Absolutely, it'd be a pleasure.
Yeah, we'll do the podcast part 2 when that's about to happen.
Fantastic. Touch all the wood now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no bother. Open a new business in toughest sector.
Yeah,
I would imagine, big time.
It is.
It's so important. God Almighty.
It is.
I mentioned the places down in West Cork.
Yeah.
And there's a restaurant down there. Well, Sullivan's, beautiful bar. Their proud boast is that they're open 364 days a year.
Wow.
Serving food. You get food 364, even though you go in like today and nothing Thursday in January. You'll get the same menu that you get at the peak of the summer when all the yachting crew are around and everything.
That's impressive. However they can manage that. That's hard to manage.
Yeah. It's partly I said that nearly everything around closes. So, and the other thing is it's consistent. So you know if you go there, it will be open and you will get all of that, you know. I think it's a philosophy about how they run business, including running it at a loss for a couple of months, I'm sure. It just has to be. What's happiness to you?
Happiness to me. Happiness is family. Like family and comfort and friendship and safety and challenge.
Challenge and safety wrapped in together, kind of like, are they two things fighting with each other, are they?
I've sat and been nestled and wrapped in bubble wrap myself, my feelings, and everything, and it's felt comfortable and nice and cozy, but it hasn't made me happy. I always need something to be working towards, like whether it's a physical or a mental challenge, or like recently it's been just figuring out my own, how I think and how I live and how I want to live. But I mean the challenge part has to be there, because without it there's nothing to gauge happiness by. You don't know when. You know, there's happiness and there's content, but happiness comes from working through difficult times and coming out the other end of it and seeing things that you've worked hard for come to fruition. That happiness, it's not about the result, it's about that process to me, I think. That's happiness. You know?
Yeah, you do need something to, as you say, to challenge you and get your blood going and to aim for. And
because happiness isn't you know, the way in Irish when we say like Tobron arm, like sadness is upon me, and you know, I'm trying to think of the Irish for happiness now, but to think of that, but like it's a transient feeling. Like happiness and sadness is something that comes upon us and it leaves, but like to be in a feeling of happiness, it comes with all of the emotions and the challenges, I think.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't feel it properly. It's just transient, it just goes past, and you know, but definitely I'd need a bit of challenge and safety. You know,
yeah.
I'd have to have the harness on before I jump off the building, you know.
Yeah, well, owning your own place in that lovely space, you're going to have a battle with one of those things, I think.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you have to just jump.
Yeah.
And having no idea whether you're going to fly, whether things can sustain you or whatever, and that's part of it.
It is, and I think life is like that anyway. And you know, happiness is to a lot of people a state of mind, but to me it's definitely more of a physical kind of moving part. You know, it's how I view it, probably because I've always had to. You know. So
will that be your winning? Will it opening that place? Is that your ultimate win?
Well, they would be, if that's all going well. Okay. It would be to have a place where, you know, opening is one thing, but happy customers, happy staff, the morale, the environment, the lifestyle, what it gives to people, how far it can spread into the community, whether it's not just, you know, a sandwich or a lunch, what else can we do? Like, you know, that would be the most impactful thing you can do, is to have a community space where you're actually actively helping or being involved in the community, not just giving them their lunch and dinner, which is important, not just providing them a space to socialise and be a part of, and come in from the cold or come in from the hot days, give them their ice cream, but like, you have to be involved in the community to make it a viable, valuable part of the community, and that's what I'd love to do. That's the way I see it.
I'm thinking about what you've said to me, and that feeling you had when you could hear everyone out there happy in the pubs.
Yeah.
You delivered that with your team on that particular day.
Yeah.
Will you rope your dad's help in? Will you rope him in for a hand on that opening night, will you?
I'd absolutely love to. We did a pop-up 2 years ago on a farm, and he cooked the beef for it perfectly for 60 people for main course, medium rare. I'll show you the pictures afterwards. He's phenomenal. And he's looking to open his own thing, which I'm helping him in, which is my kind of strong point. If I need to get my dad to come in and cook, he will cook, and it will be phenomenal. You know, we'd have a great partnership if we were closer together now, you know, all these years later, definitely. You know, he could give me and show me so much that opening day. Definitely, it's a great idea. I'll have to book him in.
Yeah, get him to emigrate to Cork.
He wouldn't leave Ballinasloe. He loves it too much.
So along the way, we make choices to get a bit closer to that feeling of happiness. Mm-hmm. What was that biggest choice for you?
The biggest choice, I suppose, is movement. It's always been movement. It's not, sometimes it has been running away, but to get away from things that were weighing me down and keeping me in places that were kind of dark or troubling my mind or troubling my health in another way. So the movement, you know, that natural movement of moving through different restaurants, different stages in my life, you know, that's the choice that I keep making. I don't think I'll ever stop moving. It'd be nice to relax for, you know, a nice, not relax, but be in one place for a certain amount of time, but I don't think it's possible. And if I didn't move all of those times, I'd be desperately unhappy, because you know, when you have to move on, you have to move on, and that's the hardest decision sometimes to do. I can't compartmentalise misery and heartache and poor food and bad management. I can't. I have to, all cogs need to be moving in the same direction that I am for my mechanics to be working. So I suppose that's the choice, to move or to not move. And
personally, how do you know when it's the right time to move? What are the signals to yourself that, okay, now is the moment?
When you have clouds of darkness over every aspect of your life on the sunniest day, when you are not making people as happy as you know you can make them, when you feel like you're taking you know, people's joy, or you know, whatever it is, you're making things hard for everybody because you're being so hard on yourself, and you feel that people stop opening up to you and stop, you know, they don't want to step on your toes and all of that, and it all just feels a little bit dark and cold. You need to make a plan, and once you make a plan of any description, the sun starts to come through, and then you can make your plan to move. But it's not only about myself, it's about how, like, I feel it affects people. Sometimes I get that wrong about how I feel I affect them, but you know, I don't ask people directly, but I mean, I know that if someone goes from being a really happy person and really jovial in life, and you know, as soon as I come into the room or whatever, then that demeanour is changed, or you know, or you know, whatever it is. It's a feeling, you know, it's a gut feeling. Sometimes it's just about myself, but more often than not, it's taking everybody into account. I always have to take the temperature of the room wherever I go. It's just how I am, you know.
Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Oh, thanks for having me. God, I don't know what we spoke about, but it was a pleasure.
I don't know either.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, well done. Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Win Happy podcast, which has been brought to you by Fusion Communications. If you'd like to get in touch, feel free to send me an email at greg@fusion.ie. So until next time, take it easy.